what are realistic expectations for Ambry Thomas? It seems like this is the one DB the Niners took where it's maybe fair to have lofty expectations or hopes.
Yeah, initially backup corner. I mean, I could see a world where like one of those guys gets hurt and you put Ambry in and Ambry never gives the job back up.
Right.
Like, see like a guy like, obviously Verrett, but like Mosley, if Mosley was out for some reason and then you got Verrett and Ambry, I mean, you could see, Ambry balling out and not giving that job back because he's a more physically gifted player than Mosley.
Either. Yeah, Mosley, yeah.
Yeah, so if he got on the field, I don't think he played well, I think Mosley would have a hard time getting that job back. Now, that would be a situation where maybe they would look to Mosley to play more of a slot. But Ambry is the guy that, like, out of all those guys, I could see him getting a lot of playing time and certainly step in and be initially a backup.
I think there's a segment of 49er fans that are expecting or hoping that he will flat out outplay Emmanuel Mosley in camp and take that job by week 1. Is that a realistic expectation? He didn't play last year. Mosley's been around.
He could. I don't expect it. I just think I've discussed this before with the drafts. Like, everyone expects every draft pick to like be a starter or something. It doesn't work that way.
No. There's like one or two.
Yeah, most drafts you get 1 or 2 starters, and that's like a good. If you get 2 starters, that's a good draft.
Yeah.
And not every guy is going to be a starter. You're looking for traits, and you're hoping that those guys will be starters, and in the meantime they can contribute.
I mean, most likely it's going to be Aaron Banks, and that's it this year. Most likely, that's the most realistic expectation. Sermon be number 2, Lance number 2, Thomas first guy off the bench. All of that. Yeah.
But I do see potential in Ambry Thomas. I do think that, like, it's not out of the realm of possibility that if he could step in there and be a starter. I mean, it's happened before. I mean,
well, let's talk not just short term then. Then what do you think of realistic expectations for Ambry Thomas are for the next 3-4 for his rookie contract, the next 4 years? Do you expect him to be a starter pretty sooner than later?
I think they're expecting him probably to be probably next year. They're probably expecting him to be a starter. But
considering Verrett could be gone, it could be him and Mosley.
Verrett could be gone, right? It could be him and Mosley. Verrett could be gone. Yeah, I mean, I think, and even then, you just need depth also at the corner spot anyway. So, I mean, you've talked about it before. Like, that's a position that you should just constantly draft. And like draft fairly high, like, because you typically don't find those guys. And
so they got a guy with high end traits after the 100th pick. It's interesting, but I'm like, is it really fair to say that this guy has potential to be a number 1 corner? Like, he'd be definitely the exception. Just being drafted that low.
Yeah, he would be the exception. He'd be the exception to the rule, but you see it like
it happens. It does.
You see it.
I'm surprised they got the traits that they got so late in the draft. I mean, wow, 4'3", 6 feet. Wow. Is it mostly because he opted out? I don't know.
Yeah, he doesn't have to come in and be like Dion, right? Like,
true.
If he came in and was like a solid starter he was a late 3rd round pick, right? If you got a solid starter at corner for a late 3rd round pick, that's a success. Like, he doesn't have to walk in and be, a top 5 corner. If he's a solid starter, that's a good pick. To just be a solid NFL starter at, in the
good point. Those are the realistic expectations, not the lowered expectations. If you don't know what that is, just Google it. Look on Twitter, not YouTube. Lowered expectations. I thought it was funny when I was a kid. I don't know if Gen Z kids will find it funny. They may not even get the concept because the whole idea is like where you would leave ads for yourself in the paper, like, right? dating ads in the paper. What I like to do, long walks and stuff. People now it's the whole different. I don't know.
You know what? I was gonna tweet the other night because I was watching the Mavs game, right? And
Yeah.
I'm looking at Rick Carlisle. I'm like, he looks like Fire Marshal Bill. Like, and I don't know if people know who Fire Marshal Bill is. You know who Fire Marshal Bill is?
I don't think I know who Fire Marshal Bill is.
Oh my God. Fire Marshal Bill was on the Living Color.
Oh my God. See, that's a little before my time, man. That's a little before my time. That's like late 80s, early 90s. I would have to go. I definitely didn't live through that.
Early 90s. Man.
Early 90s. Yeah, I was 4. I was 5. But I missed it. But I remember Homie the Clown. Not that I remember it, but I've seen Homie the Clown. I've seen Homie the Clown. I've seen Damon Wayans live in San Francisco. He's a terrific stand-up comedian. He was probably in his 50s when he did it 4 or 5 years ago. I find Damon Wayans to be underrated. He's hilarious. One of the, I mean, Marlon and Sean are funny too. Scary Movie is a great movie. So is White Chicks. White Chicks is underrated. There's a lot of important social commentary in that movie.
I never saw White Chicks.
Oh, there's a lot of important social commentary in that movie.
Yeah.
You could teach that movie in a class.